Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be unpacking a really fascinating and honestly a slightly terrifying piece of recent technical history. There's this very specific, very special kind of dread that hits when your perfectly quiet, happily humming home server just suddenly starts acting, well, haunted. I mean, one minute your services are running beautifully inside their virtual LAN, your LXC containers are doing their jobs, and your remote access is just rock solid. And then you do a routine, quote-unquote, responsible update. Suddenly, it feels like somebody poured sand straight into your network stack. So today, we're looking at the Proxmox Kernel 7.0 update, specifically the update that completely broke the one thing a Homelab was supposed to do. So picture this scenario for a second. You patch because, well, you should. You reboot because you have to. You're just trying to be a responsible admin, right? We actually saw one user describe updating their system right before leaving the house for a trip, thinking it was the absolute safest, most sensible thing they could do to secure their network. Everything seemed perfectly fine until they tried streaming something from the airport. That is when the whole thing just crashed down. So what actually happens when doing the right thing pulls the rug out from under your remote access at the exact moment you need it the most? Now, why was this specific bug such a massive operational nightmare? Well, it's because it wasn't a clean break. A clean break is almost polite, It tells you exactly where to look. Nothing actually exploded here. The nodes were still connecting directly to each other. They didn't even fall back to Tailscale's DRP relay servers, which is usually your big safety net when direct connections fail. So on paper, the tunnel looked completely alive. But in reality, we were looking at a slow, ugly regression. The performance just cratered so badly that the word connected literally stopped meaning usable. And a slow regression like this is just agonizing because it makes you suspect absolutely everything in your environment except the actual culprit. Okay, let's dive into the inciting incident here. It was simple, but man was it devastating. Upgrading to the Proxmox 7.0 kernel caused Tailscale, when it was running inside LXC containers, to become practically unusable. Just a complete, total drop into a swamp of zero throughput. And this brilliantly illustrates the danger of our daily assumptions. You assume that a standard kernel update on a virtualization host shouldn't, completely wreck your path home. But for a narrow slice of users running this exact stack, Proxmox, LXCs, and Tailscale, it did exactly that. And do you want to know the cruelest irony of all? The trap snapped shut right when users were actively trying to be responsible. Why were people rushing to update to kernel 7 in the first place? It was all because of security concerns. There was some really heavy chatter around kernel fixes for vulnerabilities like Copyfail. So naturally, users made the sane, responsible move to protect their infrastructure. But by doing so, they walked right into a performance trap that effectively locked them out of their own systems. The thing is, regressions like this don't come with a flashing neon sign pointing at the problem. Instead, users spent their precious evenings blaming perfectly plausible but completely wrong suspects. I mean, first, you blame Tailscale, then you blame your router. You poke at your DNS, you tweak your Wi-Fi, you start questioning MTU sizes, your container images, the remote network you happen to be on. Honestly, you basically start blaming the moon. You're just staring at these dashboards that are all whispering, "Looks fine to me," while you lose hours of your life troubleshooting. Eventually, though, the community found a lever to pull, and it was brutally old school. It went like this. Step 1. You run your proxmox-boot-tool kernel list to see what you actually have. Step 2. You find the last working 6.x kernel and you pin it. So for example, pinning version 6.17.13-7 PVE. Step 3. You refresh and reboot. Boom, performance snaps right back to normal. There was no grand theory, no epic 10-part debugging saga, just a simple rollback to a known good state. But look, we have to be really clear about what that fix actually is. Pinning the kernel, that is not a permanent solution. It's a tourniquet. It is a temporary hold that stops the bleeding and keeps your system reachable while everyone sits around waiting for the maintainers to provide an actual diagnosis and a real patch. In Homelab land, though, a tourniquet is often all you need to save your weekend and regain a little bit of sanity. But right here is where the plot really thickens. The absolute most frustrating part of this entire regression was the sheer inconsistency. I mean, why didn't everyone get burned? Some users were hit instantly, the remote access completely paralyzed right after the reboot, but others couldn't reproduce the issue at all. It was like they were on a totally different planet. To put that into perspective, this data brilliantly illustrates the confusion. One user ran an iPerf3 test on a standalone Proxmox VE9 host. They were on the no subscription repository with the kernel 7 update, running Tailscale inside Alpine and Debian LXCs. And look at this, they got incredibly healthy speeds. We're talking 884 megabits per second forward and 890 reverse. Sure, there were a few retransmits, but definitely no total network collapse. Now, they did mention they were using Intel NICs. This strongly suggested that underlying hardware variables like specific NIC drivers, hardware offload behaviors, or just unique container networking paths were completely muddying the waters. Works perfectly for me and completely broken for me were incredibly both entirely true statements at the exact same time. Because of all this wild inconsistency, the troubleshooting community naturally fractured into three very distinct camps. First up, you had the alarm bells. These folks experienced the crash firsthand, and they knew for a fact that rolling back fixed it instantly. Their proof was their own broken servers. Second, you had the cautious. Those who were wondering if maybe the issue was tied to some other kernel concern and they were demanding better proof before pointing fingers at the update. And finally, you had the testers. The users actively running controlled iPerf3 tests, trying desperately to turn a messy pile of random anecdotes into actual actionable data for the maintainers. Amidst all this frantic troubleshooting, a really fascinating side debate emerged around performance architecture, specifically regarding SRIOV. Some folks argued that using SRIOV gives your virtual machines and containers near-native NIC performance. It does this by bypassing the standard virtualization networking layers and heavily leveraging hardware offloads. But see, this highlights the classic Homelab tension. Yes, you can always make your setup more elegant and more hardware-aware, but every single layer of cleverness you add, that becomes a massive liability. It's just another complex thing you have to remember and debug when your network suddenly starts acting haunted. Now, the anxiety surrounding this whole issue really spiked because of exactly how the update was delivered. An opt-in experimental kernel is one thing, right? You click that, you know you're playing with fire. But kernel 7 became the default update for users on the no subscription path, and that completely changes the emotional temperature. Suddenly, routine, everyday maintenance is breaking essential remote access workflows, and that creates a very specific, very deep kind of mistrust in the default update process as a whole. And the whole security angle just added immense pressure to the situation, leading to what I like to call casual admin whiplash. Think about it. You're tracking kernel packaging variations, you're trying to figure out if security backports for specific vulnerabilities like Copyfail versus dirty frag have actually landed in your specific build. It all just starts blending together into this big headache. You aren't just asking, am I patched anymore? Now you have to ask, am I patched for the exact thing I think I'm patched for in the build I actually booted, on the repo I'm currently using after the reboot I definitely just completed? Honestly, it all comes down to this one phrase. Homelab users expect the edge to have a railing. Yes, users on no subscription repositories are totally comfortable living a little closer to the bleeding edge, but they still expect a basic safety net. They skim the changelogs, they apply the updates, and they trust the defaults not to punish them for doing routine maintenance. When an unannounced regression just sneaks in and severs their connection to home, that operational confidence is deeply, deeply dented. Okay, so let's extract some hard, universal IT lessons from this ordeal so you can actually survive your next update cycle. First, and absolutely most importantly, do not make remote access critical changes right before you travel. Just don't do it. Second, always keep at least one known good kernel available and know exactly how to pin it. Third, don't just send a quick ping to see if you're online. Run actual real-world transfer tests like iperf3 after major updates. And finally, plan a recovery path. If your main host isn't directly reachable, you need to figure out exactly how you'll get back in before that path is the only one you have left. So why does any of this matter so deeply? Because Homelabs are no longer just weekend toys. They really aren't. They've evolved into critical personal infrastructure. They hold our massive media libraries, our absolutely crucial family backups, our home automation, and the private personal clouds we built specifically because commercial options annoyed us. When the doorway into that digital world abruptly breaks just because of a routine patch, it feels incredibly personal. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this entire saga. I want to leave you with this question to chew on today. Are your update habits based on an actual strategy, or are you just placing blind trust in the defaults? Think about it. The next time you hover your mouse over that update button, especially on the machine that acts as your doorway home, it might just be worth taking a second to remember kernel 7 and ask yourself if you're truly ready for what happens after the reboot. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. Stay curious and safe patching out there.